Welcome back. Okay, I just wanted to finalize our discussion and sort of give you some insight into why I chose this topic and how I thought it fit into these core concepts. So, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Tampotilaya, ne Shopanga Suga Twitter Chijutikolaya, Jigdom Chijagi, yes, Tatina, Sutikare Systembalaya, Jushindi Damguya, Skurata, Hopper than the Shimjig di Danguagi, Damguagi, Junsenkari in Batan, and it and the Shimjig de Neko Kuton Yimbu Nalaya, Kuton Yimbu Tetan, Java Kandasugu, Metike Chekies.
So we learned in the first morning session today a little bit about the what's going on in the brain of humans who stutter, which included changes in white matter tracts, specifically in the young children, that correlated with the symptoms.
Tatanga Suga Shokba Sotan Tampukas, and Karela Tayoresena. Katupi cups and it's a lepignani, Kurzigi, Julam Telayan, Juan Drugo Pata, and it hopper the Pu Chonchonganalaya, a chin Juru Drugo Pateta, Casa, Kurzigi, Julam Gich, Juan Duateta, and a Katupagich Yorwa, then check Parloya, Twinde Pating as a tires.
We also learned in the first session that from studies of families, several of these genes involved in lysosomal trafficking, when they are mutated, are correlated with stuttering.
And Shendaji Tayore Sestabalaya, Natsu Ta Puinani Katupa Yopakanshila, Kutsugi Namigi, Chimzangi, Nami Kutsugi, Julujila Tapa in Baina, and Kutsula Yopakanshila, Hopperta, Rizi Chetapachilaya, Ninjur Tepa in Baina. Ninjur Tebate, Rizi Cheta Bachila, Ninjur Tebate, and a Katubataya, Tundo Patayores.
Then from there, we learned that we can create an animal model using the mutation in the lysosomal gene to create an animal model that mimics some of the behaviors of stuttering.
Take Jelaya Sugi Sochak Nalaya, Socha Cheta Paganane, and a Kutsugi Rizi Cheta Batilaya, Ninjutang dete, Ninjutang Batilatine dete, and a Kutsugi Shishulaya, Sigurata, Shishute Natsu Milaya Katipa and Banetic Shishutan, Jau Tonachigorwa, Tig and Natsu Samchin Latasijuga, Pitsunkashita, yes.
Now that we have this animal model, we can use it to try to understand some of the phenomenon that we saw in humans, but we can't actually do invasive experiments on a human's brain.
Tatanga Suga Samchin Latasichiwa Latinidete, Milaya Katupi Caps, Nico Netankanada, which you mentelaya, Chiso Toxicia Laya Casugureta, Chipento Chitkiores, in Bananga Suga. And in me Galaya, and the Shajalaya invasive system Balata, Nalan Jude, the Skorota, Co Taxichi, Taxe Tandati, Telaya, Taxe Dusta Chitkio Maris.
So, one thing that might be interesting to use this animal model for is to go back and look in the animals. Do they have deficits in some of these white matter tracts that are involved in speech and language processing? That could be a way to use this model to understand the biology.
That's Shendaching Asukarita Senarwa, and a Tanda Samchin data la Taxichi Batege, and a Kusuge, Nurtumbata, and a Dandoya Chigorwa, Data, and a Tanda. Jadzig in on tracks to Julam Laya, Chunshura, Tinder, the Parolaya, Joyo Metelaya, Sutat Chris.
And diving even a little bit deeper, we might be able to use this animal model to understand, in fact, why mutations in lysosomal targeting proteins result in stuttering. So we might be able to do a little bit more specific neurobiological studies in these animals that might help reveal something about the human disorder.
Shendachi Karcher system Balaya, Hopper Rizidi, Tandangaso, Lysosome Laya, Nembenchiagi, Riziti, and Ninjur Temple at Tenedeti, and a Kasugure. Katipati Yongorwa, the Yomba Tilatinedeta, that data case, Ra, Taku Takshiba Dilatinedeta, Natsumigi Nalaya, Katuba Delaya, and it's jingwe nibab tayana nga su wangsa gi nibab ne ane kanadu chigre du se te la ya tathap chia la ya ane phengres.
So when I reflected on these core concepts from in core concept 8 and looking at the two that I've highlighted, in fact, we looked at research on humans more as the first step to understand the disorder, and then tried to model it in animals to provide additional insights about the disorder.
Da nga su ge koto nyimbu la ta bayna de chu koto nyimbu nang ge jeba de ge kho ge nang se cha shi che de la tak jab chu de la ta bayna da te bala nga su kar chi ore sana tangpu te la ya ani mi ge nang ne ta ko khatik pa tang te la ya chung kan ro chu or sa re ne thomi ge ta shep she chi chi su ko tak she chi chi ani ti ha ku nu go je la ya ta te la ya tang sa pu ge shia ge che to ani ne sam jeng gang la ya ani tak she do yo res.
And then through these experiments on animals, we might be able to then try new treatments in the human population that might be therapeutic for people who stutter.
Da samchen la ya takshe chi wa tilatene dete ani tilatene dete yanso ngasu mi la ya ani ta menchu gi la pesho ta ya chu ge ta chi thap tin ro ani pesho ta yong gres.
And with that, I don't have any more slides, but I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
Ta dus chi chi ngasu joshi de ko la ya jigdun ja ba yin swa ani tin stam ba la ya ani kete chesula draw yo pa bai na ani draw na ro chi is draw ayo sa yes
지금 네 급하게 팔아서라 고지요래 같게 돼요. 다고는 이제 너무 찍인다고 하나 다식 찍인다고요. 찍 듣고 있나? 잠바도 단 진독식 받은지라 지금 고엔도 팔아서.
He's saying that the stuttering can be can be transmitted to other person. For instance, you live in a family, close family, and one person stuttering. Can that affect or can that transmit it to other people? Or like if you live in a dorm and you have several stuttering people, and it can affect other people or can transmit to other people?
Not that I'm aware of.
Tadanga hakutsu chibayna yomaris. Yeah, could get it right.
Yella tiwachigira. Tiwadi ingarsan tatangi nganzo ta takche dina rigzeyura. Rigze ta mingchi kunzu mingchi rashpa chikta doya. Ta dila any gensune kunzu ki zizi ginalola ta geri dini ma ge gamhodo edi chatoyura. Inengan ti topa dirosas. Ta zip tamuraya. Ta rigze di dili shugensuwa dili ta negative impact shimbayura. 지지기 다 네게티브 임팩트 심바 가르테 예메데 군수 시데 가르사 토나테 요르베스 심주디 지디 게리 주고 뭐임바
side effects right. So my question is, you have mentioned in the earlier sessions about the study done on the mice, and you have mutated specific genes to have this characteristics for stuttering.
Yes.
And my question is, did you measure any other side effect or any other ill effect that the specific mutated gene has on the mice?
Yes, so that's a really great question. It would be possible, and maybe they anticipated, that there could be other deficits in other motor skills in addition to stuttering. And then they might argue, then if that were the case, it wouldn't be really specific for stuttering per se. So it was important to look at other types of motor skills to see if that was the case. And yes, they did. And they found that there were really no differences in things like investigating their little rooms or what have you, or doing other types of motor tasks. It seemed that this deficit was really about the motor condition of speech, moving your tongue, moving the larynx, etc.
Ta tanda de la ya GHO res ta chola ge draw te ku chu sor wa tanda de rigzi chita pa te chiba la tene de ton tele tene de ya shichen jenda se gora ta shichen jemba o tinda la ya taksha chi ores tamba la ya tanda ge chirtang ge rigzi de imba na ko gocho tanda tamba la ya ne ku chu ta yo res ro ta gocho imba na da tanda da su ti tang gocho ti da gocho tanda wa se tamba la nga su ge kenga triya terwa ke triya ti tanda wa ro marwa ro khang go ya ta ma pang go ya ta la so ne ke ting go ro o ti la ya chi de tang kusu imba na chi che ba imba na ya shenda kurang gucho gi chele shenda la chi che ba na no cha gi re sam chi samay sam yo res ro o ti la ya takshe chi stam ba la ya picha sha ba na ku khoi kna ne gucho ta ta shlo choya la so ba ga la ya ani chun chung yo ma res jenda khepro mindus ta chi ta ta ma ta ni par la khepro mindus su imba na ta ngak triya ti sugura ta ke ma she ngak triya ti la ya ani ko chi sha sta ti imba na ngasu la pang na ne yong guchu relation ta yong kondo wa chang yo pa ti na ngasu ga khang gu ya ta ma pang gu ya la su pang go wa o te ta la chun chi shu ma to bi jenda yong guchu ge kar cheli jenda la yong ni chun chi mandus ta tro ayo
저 진주지 진주지 타나 디지 진다 단다 지지 게게 타나 쇼게 포포 모모진 다땅글라서 다들 ultrasonic vocalization लगदा दे गेगे तनो सुयचन थिगे गासो अनि कोमाथेस दिनो जुएला थिगे गा छि जुदा तिंदि दे wall frequency लाउदी तेज कसे शाशे दो लाना निशिने जा तिनि शेगदा गासो नजि ड्रामी के कोय निशिने निटि बद कोरा दे अनि खर्चने थिगे गा लगोरस्ते अले
ultrasonic la do
ultrasonic vocalization लगदा
the and the frequency ka so shadow do you have the slide for the ultrasonic
de ngazo kom to be gina shi namji ngazo koe de frequency ni shini ni tiba da sha de wora
the frequency
o de tin do ya chine ja ba de mara te shimbat back I think
you go back
This one here?
tin da de pese nga norme na ni shine ja the frequency tida kilohertz ra kare de
kilohertz yeah
okay ta de ngazo
ngaso kilohertz that ni kher do
ale
kilohertz la ba na ta ton tra jur go wa ni chuga gang la do ni chuga gang la ya rin do is that
yeah
ngaso ni shin ni chuba go go ba
okay yeah 아니 지지게 나서 고 말해 그래서 깨따는 지지기
참마다 참 때때다 고라야 먹군이에요
알레
so he is asking question about the frequency but the confusion come from the with the unit he thought it's a hertz and human can hear like 20 till 20,000 but he sees like 20 to 100 is confused but this is kilohertz so.
Yes, pay attention to our units. Yes, exactly.
Kilohertz that is that's all you are that you know your semana maths I'm asking them if they have any questions
Trust the Karana than the digging. Kid did cut Katika. Katik was it. Oh, the ling in this la. So, Magi Ganara, Kaji Shedi, and it cutting to me. And the king knew a Jipena, the Pebadende, Namio Peggy Jadi cutting to you. Jamiki Jadi, Chugan as a getting. 카트교디 매야 양 가지야 베게 야디야 카트도니 인지게 야디 추교견한테 야요인들도 딘디 때니와 될라 카트카카자 카트교디 매야지라 아니 게 방법을 이야기 디켜버도 미세기 딘디게 하고 여러래
에 갈라테니 인사스 거로야
레레 딘디 뭐에 내서라 딘디 정도도 아니 딘디가나야 지 미세기 가르쳐버려 이나
so for the case of stuttering and we stuttering that stuttering right stuttering yeah stuttering for the case of stuttering in real life in cases of bilingual person if the person stutters in his mother tongue that person doesn't stutter in like a second language like English or Chinese Mandarin. So what could be the reason or?
Do we know that to be true?
Thế người này rồi à có này thôi nhỉ à
mi thanda ya dinde mi tyo ani nya da genge thangi genge dilaso khat gyo di phasu chikchilan gyo yo malai da ngazu mi dinde ne da nalo la robot di chigi khat gyo je khola takwa nye zana ka ta dinde la ro jilo khoran songone dinde cham ro gyo dinde yo re.
Thank you. This is John Sajira. He says like for his question, he saw a person like that.
Oh, so we have one example of this situation.
And the second one is like for the first question, it says if stuttering can be transmitted to other person. He's saying like sometimes if you have a friend with the stuttering problem, if you imitate or mimic the person, and sometimes you also do the same, in a sense, if you imitate or mimic.
You might be able to do it, but you're not.
Yeah.
You can definitely stop doing it, right? It's just an imitation. And with respect to the bilingual question, I actually don't know. From all the literature that I've looked at, I don't know if that's a true observation that bilingual, if you are bilingual and you stutter in one language, you don't stutter in the other. I would think you would stutter in both, just because of the nature of the problem is about executing the right mouth movements, etc. So I would think that would happen in both, but I don't know for sure.
Tatakin Guyati Taroi, Kitty Tinedo Cheba in Banaya Chorongi Kayorwas, Choronlaya Tige, Tangasuke, Katibati, Gugiris, and Taku, Uskija Cheba and Dochi Chaga, but the Choron Goyorwas, Katkuyorwas. The Kutsutilla Homete Chunguyor, Marwe, Katiniti in Bana, the Shendati in Bana, that does Taka Kasu Chirashe, Ngara Sanu in Bana, Chetanga, Kitcha pickups, Kitcha pickups, Tako. Samlu tang ane lepi nanga da yong tang ane khana nanga tang sama yong go yorwa tin stambala ngarang samsim baina ta ke ni basum ba ni yo pa bana insha na la khat ganda uchi res bana te ga tle ko shinji chiwa ta ne tang se utin de shames following up that question like sir I've discussed with someone about the AGT or Americans Got Talent right. Yeah, there's a participant who is stuttering when he speaks. But he sings so perfect.
Yes, that is true. That has been an observed phenomenon where people who stutter when they sing don't have a stutter when they sing. So there are some hypotheses about why that is. One that I read was about the fact that when you sing, you're doing something slightly different than when you speak, which is modulating pitch. And that process seems to override, perhaps, the malfunctioning that occurs in stutter.
Tanda Shendachi Tanga Gelachiam to Ketcha Johnson, that the Arigi, Gina Dendatina Chigala, Puchi, Ketcha Stamba Katagadoa, Zitan Stamba, and Yen Touches Tangadoa. Or the Tikari system, but it and the Tangasun Toagin also in the race. The Telayako, the Church Kasichiorista, Rotoxeta Chisma, Social Kasichiorista, Social Chicar system Balaya, she tongue pick up Simbana, Suge, Ziga, Yanta Tilaya, Yanta Tumentilaya, Tanzan Chigu, or Dantantilla. That Church Chicar system Balaya, Dantaya Tilaya, and each Tonium Zuachi, Tuma Taya Tig Capsa, and then Asu Namjing, the Katrium again, Nitanchua. Tibeti override Sigurwa, this Tambalati, such Nembando Sigurata, good Nembando Chimbalaya, Soja de Chigores. Thank you, Galagonda. Thank you, Linda.
Midra the Gains and Lieutenant and the Digi Lasa. Pina Susugi, Pina Punyido down, Nonculia, Chansa Joina, Co, any Ningul down, Ningul Chonchi, Kuncha, any Regino Longoya chairs, Chisha. Chizang Susugi Rizi the Tariwan or down Pena Marie Muimba Chiba in a pay Marie Pay Kaka in Badina, 그 대초기 개차야 그 경찰이야 망고하게 휴침부터 여러에서 유주 놀러 그나 세리가 딱지 장래야 라도들 좀
요래 손손스와 요래 손 요래 손
그나
맞듯이 요래 손손
저도 내려서
다치 시바이바나 타란사 도초 용그로에스
도초래야다 소소 나차도이나 망고바다 다디 리지노 때나 망고바다 휴침보야다 인주된다 여러에서
So earlier in the class, you have mentioned about the high chance of mutation if we have a close family marriage, and so the opposite will be true. For instance, if you marry to an unrelated family. Yes, unrelated family or unrelated people from totally different or distant world, so the chance will decrease.
Yes.
The Ungresa. Taresa. The Dosho de Dembaresons. That in the Jin Sarua.
나도 니리 집어 벤자도 되는 몸부지 되나 니 가서 리질인 좋아도 그래라서
그래
남지 김운을 수수도 가제지 니야유나 때도 냠도 저다저 되는 부어도 야도 그래서 니 김운을 되는 시우도 니 걸다 차서 등날로 김운을 수수도 가제지 니야유나 때도 냠도 아니 다 가서 냠도 되는 부어지야 유아도 니 가지도 타데는 부지야메 봐 차고 거라 저기야메 봐 딜라고라 니르치고 바나가도 봉긋 거서 니르치고 말이야 대도 집어라
맞지 미소만 니르치빠라야
저도 네 바나가 가지 타데는 부 저기 도마라 아래
니르 타데나 yes
니르 타데는 부 저기 도마라 니르 가지도 나와요 다시 치에 뒤 저기게 저거 야지 그래서 니 라고라
라고 요면
찜문으로
라이
대도 다 드리고 던디 니르 가지 니나 있나요
니르 세고요 마다 단다데다 가서 알크나
벤자 소소 벤자 가지 치에 있는 한번 지금 벤자 있는 니르 다 니에고라 아니
다 니르 마세다 재미 소만 니르 식발 정아서 소만
저도 니르 찍어라 니르 먹이 지고 다 니에 지어라
다 니르는 마거나 가가서 가래 패밀리로 family you get it so usually like when we talk about species so when we talk about species if the species are closer to different species are closer there are more chances of reproduction or having offspring.
Say the last part again. There's more progress for what?
More chances of having offspring if the species are closer. If it go into the on the tree. So he is saying that yes, species.
Mate with each other.
Okay. 니르 지금 말했어.
Yeah. We're not making another primate.
Okay. 니르 바로라야 중국 말했어. 니르 만도 바로라 부기 중국 말했어. 됐어.
Okay, maybe we should now, I'm available for other questions if need be, but maybe we should give them now some time to work on their research projects.
That's all.
And again, if they need help with the research studies or getting them downloaded, we're available.
다 단다 좋아도 참시하고 서와. 아니 단다도 제수가요 심지기 지야당 단다 담식 제대 다리지로 지스와. 네 양지 심지기 지야 그때 콜라 좋아요 바당 tane ane tanda chetsura joji khashindus khama khasema chabata tane ane chi simji ko chongi tena do mar phalam chi gwa ta tena ropa go bai na ane twa na ro chi es desa la so